Hey guys, it's Liz from Consumed by Books, and I have a book haul to share with you. But the first thing that I actually have to share with you guys is not a book. It's a gift from Macmillan and Leigh Bardugo, and that is the Grisha Trilogy. That's what the box says if you can't see. It has some buildings on it and the titles of all three books. Shadow and Bone, which I've read and reviewed, Siege and Storm, which I'm going to read this summer, and Ruin and Rising, which comes out this summer. Now, there aren't going to be arcs of Ruin and Rising, but there is a chapter sampler in here, so that's pretty cool. And there's also candles that say Summoner, Soldier, and Saint, and they all smell really good. So this was a really cool thing to send. Thank you to Leigh and the awesome folks over at Macmillan for sending this over. And let's get down to the books. First up, I have The Body in the Woods, which is by April Henry. This is the first book in a new series, the Point Last Seen series, which supposedly puts readers in the middle of harrowing rescues and crime investigation scenes. I don't read a lot of YA like this, so I'll be curious to hear how I like this one. Next up, I have a copy of Shipwreck Island, which is by S.A. Bodine. This is being pitched as the Swiss Family Robinson meets Lost, so that's kind of an interesting combination. This will probably be a one-sitting type of read because it's only about 200 pages, but it looks interesting and I'm curious to get into it. Next, I have a book that probably won't surprise those of you who know me, but it is On the Road to Find Out. This is by Rachel Tour, and I don't really know much about this aside from the fact that it is a new... I was starting to read the back of the book. It is a YA novel that involves running, and I always love young adult books that involve running, so I'm curious to give this a try and see how I like it. And then First Second, which is also part of Macmillan, sent me two books. They sent me Return of Zeta the Space Girl by Ben Hotke. This is the third book in the Zeta the Space Girl series. The first two books were Zeta the Space Girl and Legends of Zeta the Space Girl, so I'm really excited to pick up this one. I am going to actually reread Zeta soon, and then I'm going to review the Legends of Zeta the Space Girl and this book together, so I'm very excited about that. And they also sent me one other graphic novel, which is this one, Summer, by Gillian Takami and Mariko Takami. I don't know very much about this one, but I have read Skim, which I think is also by Gillian Tamaki. Tamaki and Tamaki, that's what I meant. I said Takami, I apologize. But this one looks like it should be an interesting, good summer read, so I'm looking forward to that one. Next up, I have some things from Quirk Books. I have William Shakespeare's The Empire Striketh Back. This is the second book in the William Shakespeare Star Wars trilogy. Still need to read, well, actually it may not be a trilogy, there may be more books than that, but at any rate I'm excited to read it and find out exactly how this goes. It's a really cool premise though, I like it. And I have the next book in the Nick and Tesla series. I think this is the third book. This is Nick and Tesla's Secret Agent Gadget Battle. This is by Science Bob Folgfelder and Steve Hockensmith. I think some of the kids at my library would really like that premise, so I'm excited to give that a try and see how it is. And next up, I got an unsolicited copy of Remnants of Tomorrow, which is by Cassie Taylor. I guess this is the third book in a series. It's steampunk. If any of you have read the first two books in this series, let me know, because I haven't really heard a lot about it, but if it's worth taking the time to read, then I will do it. And then lastly, I have an ARC that was sent to me by a friend because she had an extra copy. It was April from Good Books and Good Wine, and that is Since You've Been Gone by Morgan Matson. This is her newest novel. She's also written Second Chance Summer, which I loved. It's one of my favorites. And Amy and Roger's Epic Detour, which is not necessarily one of my favorites, but still a really good book. So I'm really looking forward to picking up this one. It is about a girl whose best friend disappears but leaves her with this bucket list of things to do. So it should be really fantastic. And I love this cover. And then next up, I have an item that I already owned. You guys have seen it in a previous book haul, but I got it signed. And that is Fault Line by Krista Desir. And she signed, Liz, thank you so much for being awesome. Keep fighting, keep believing. The reason I got to get this signed was because Grinnell College, which is where Krista went and which is also kind of near where I live, was holding this kind of, publishing workshop thing for their students. And they had alumni writers come in and speak. So when Krista came, I went and I got my book signed. And I also talked to her for like an hour afterwards, and she's awesome. And then next up, I bought myself several books as birthday presents because my birthday was on the 1st of the month. The first book I got was Sarina by J. Nell Patrick, which is a pseudonym for Jackson Pierce. She wrote the fairy tale retelling series and As You Wish and Purity. This is historical fantasy set in Russia, which I originally got off NetGalley, but I only had the chance to read about 50 pages before it expired on me. Oops, that happens to me too often. And I liked it enough that I wanted to go ahead and buy this finished copy, which is just really lovely. So I'm looking forward to reading this one soon. It involves Fabergé eggs, guys, which is pretty freaking awesome. And then the next book I bought for myself is one that I've already talked about, but it's This Song Will Save Your Life by Lila Sales. This came out in fall of 2013, and I loved this book. It was so good. It's amazing. And I had not yet had the chance to buy myself a hardcover, so I finally broke down and did it, and I love it. I just love the color design and the spine. I think it's awesome. The next book I bought is Noggin by John Cory Wally. He wrote Where Things Come Back, which I really enjoyed, and I've heard really good things about this one, so I'm really looking forward to sitting down with it and taking the time to read it soon. And also, I just love the fact that this is yellow and blue underneath. How awesome is that? I love it when publishers do quirky designs on the actual book itself and not just the jacket. And then the last book I have to share with you guys is Rebel Belle, which is by Rachel Hawkins. This is, I don't really know exactly what it's about, but I know it's supposed to be a little bit like Buffy the Vampire Slayer and also involves Southern Belles. And I haven't seen Buffy the Vampire Slayer, but I have read Rachel's Hex Hall series, and I know what her sense of humor can be like. And when you pair that with this adorable cover, I just had to have it. I just love this cover. It's so good. So that is everything that I have gotten recently. I would love to hear about what you guys got, so please leave links in the comments. Tell me about what you bought, what you're reading, and I will talk to you again soon. Bye.